I fell in love with my fake wife. I'm in a marriage of convenience, and I think I fell in love with my wife. I don't know what to do. My situation is very complicated and sad. About 4 years ago, my wife, whom I had been married to for 8 years, died due to extremely rare complications after the birth of our second son. I was away on a work trip at the time and was absolutely devastated. When I flew back home, it felt like nothing could ever make me happy again. I have wonderful sons. They're 6 and 4 now, but it's been hard. That's why I asked for help from the sister of one of my fellow Marines. Let's call her Cass. She knew my wife, but they weren't close friends. Cass agreed to help in exchange for a place to live. At that time, she was only 20 and in serious debt because of her extremely abusive ex-boyfriend, whom she had finally left about 3 months earlier. In the first few weeks of helping with the boys, she asked to borrow money for a doctor visit. Her hands were shaking, and she had no insurance. I was happy to help. She was an absolute angel, cooking, cleaning, and keeping my little family afloat. It turned out she had some kind of neurological condition, likely caused by repeated abuse. At the time, it all seemed simple. I had good insurance, and she needed medical help. I thought I would never be able to move on from my wife, and Cass was scared of intimacy. We agreed to get married, but to keep our relationship platonic. She promised not to burden me with her debts, and we had a prenuptial agreement, so yes, technically it was fraud from the government's perspective, but we were both broken and just needed someone, even if not in an intimate way. The last 3 years went even better than I expected. Cass is just incredible. The house is always clean. Dinner is ready every evening when I come home from work. She works nights at a bakery and has almost paid off all her debts. Her condition has improved significantly thanks to proper medical care. With the kids, she's a saint. She tells them about their mom, shows them pictures, takes them out to have fun, even taught them to read to my oldest, who's 6, just finished kindergarten, and the 4-year-old is going to be the smartest kid in his class next year. Sometimes the little one calls her mom, but she gently corrects him and says her name is Cass, and mommy is the angel in the photo above the fireplace. When her debts are fully paid off, the kids will both be in school, and she'll be able to save some money. She's planning to study nursing. Our relationship is still platonic but very warm. I've cried on her shoulder more times than I can count. She's done the same point one night. I was really stressed and yelled at her over something stupid. She had taken my sons to see Santa without me. She was clearly shaken, but we talked it through, and I even offered to pay for her therapy sessions. She refused. That was 2 years ago. Since then, we've had small arguments, but I've always been able to manage. She seems to feel my pain, my frustration, or anger, and knows how to calm me down better than anyone else ever has. The problem is, I think I'm in love with her. I started noticing little things. Her scent, her smile, her laugh, how her eyes light up when she sees me, how much my boys love her. And beyond all that, she's beautiful, hardworking, and one of the strongest people I've ever met. A few days ago, I almost kissed her after we put the boys to bed. Her goodnight hug lingered a little longer than usual. The other day, she was napping in my bed because she was doing laundry, and I just wanted to lie next to her. Not for anything sexual, just to be close, to hold her, to kiss her. I don't know what to do or how to bring it up. It's been 4 years since my wife passed, and all I can think about is that quote from A Song of Ice and Fire, where one character says, "The sun has gone down, and no candle can replace it," meaning after the death of his one true love. No one else could ever take her place. That's how I used to feel, but lately, there have been days where my mind is so full of thoughts about Cass that I forget to think about my late wife. And I feel ashamed of that. I still miss her. But I never imagined I could move on. Now I feel guilt and betrayal all at once. I don't want Cass just in a sexual or physical sense. I want to be with her in a romantic way, not just as a friend. I don't know how to talk about it. I don't want to scare her off or make her feel uncomfortable. But it's getting harder to hide. I was thinking of inviting her to a dinner, just the 2 of us, and talking to her about it. But what if she says no? How do I even know if she has feelings? Recently, she had a hard day with the boys. They were being difficult and wild, and I brought her her favorite flowers. She was overjoyed, hugged me tightly, and kissed me quickly on the lips. I was stunned, and she practically danced back to finishing dinner and put the flowers in a vase. What Did that mean? Edit. Screw it. It's only been an hour, and you guys convinced me. I'm going to tell her that I called her favorite fancy restaurant and booked a table. Her brother agreed to babysit the kids. He even offered to have them stay the night, in case she felt uncomfortable or didn't want to come back with me. This morning, she officially paid off her debts. She just sent me a picture of the receipt. And next week is our 3-year anniversary, so this kind of feels like a prelude. I'm going to tell her everything over dessert. I'm nervous as hell. Edit number 2. I told my wife I'm in love with her. And it went freaking amazing. Just got back home. Love you all. Update coming tomorrow. Right now, I'm going to go kiss my wife. Update 1. I just spent the night cuddling and kissing my wife. Last night started off terribly. Our youngest son said he ate, in his words, a big fuzzy spider. Cass wanted to take him to the hospital, even though he was clearly fine. Her brother, let's call him Joe, said he'd handle everything and basically shoved her out the door saying, "Go celebrate being debt-free." She clearly didn't want to go, and I was getting extremely nervous. We got to the restaurant early, but luckily there was an open table. She ordered wine, which was unusual. She rarely drank after leaving her ex, but I figured it was a good occasion. We made small talk, but everything felt stiff. I knew I had to tell her soon. Before the main course arrived, I said I wanted to talk to her about something. She didn't smile and just said, "I know. Joe told me," and my heart nearly stopped. That bastard that I immediately started rambling, saying how sorry I was, that I didn't want her to find out this way, that I wanted to tell her myself. She shook her head, frowned, and said it was fine. She just wanted me to be happy, and that. I deserve that I told her I didn't want to pressure her or make things weird, but I had to tell her and find out how she felt, and that it was completely up to her. She looked at me and said that, actually, it was up to me, that I should do what makes me happy. She said she was probably going to move out once she finished her nursing program and promised not to interfere with my life until then, and that's when I realized something was off. I asked her, "What the hell did Joe tell you?" She said, "He told her that I wanted to invite her to dinner to say I had feelings for some girl and to ask, 'Hey Cass, would it be okay if I ask her out?'" That's when I realized Joe had set me up with the most epic pickup line in history. Dinner came. I had New York strip with shrimp and pesto. She had crab claws, if anyone cares about the details. I explained that yes, I had developed feelings for a girl, but I didn't want to ruin what we had. She replied that nothing would be ruined. She still loved the boys and would care for them and the house. I continued and explained that I wasn't going to ask that girl out. She looked surprised and asked why, and then I dropped the best line of my life, "Because I'm already on a date with her." She looked at me the same way she looks at the boys when they say things like, "I'm going to the mall by myself," or "I have a girlfriend named Tammy." Then she looked away, smiled, shook her head, and asked, "Seriously?" I nodded and told her she meant more to me than anyone in the world, except for my sons, and that I love our family and that I'd fallen for her. She took a sip of wine, rolled her eyes, and said, "It's about time, F******ing Alex." I'll never forget what happened next. Maybe it was tacky, but I leaned over the table and kissed her, and spilled her wine in the process. We didn't care. We kissed for like a full minute, until she told me to back off or her crab claws would get cold. After dinner, we went for ice cream and kissed some more before heading home. Joe was sitting on our couch, watching some dumb VH1 reality show with a smug grin. Cass stormed in yelling, "You ruined everything. Now I have to move in with Mom." We let him believe it for 5 seconds, then burst out laughing. Joe shook my hand, said the boys were already asleep, and left. I picked Cass up in my arms, kissed her, and carried her to the bedroom, where we spent the next 2 hours kissing and cuddling like crazy. She's not ready to go further yet, and I'll give her as much time as she needs. At some point, our younger son came in. He'd had a nightmare. He brought his puppy, a golden retriever, and said the puppy was scared. So of course, we let him in. I got up early to make breakfast for everyone. Now I'm about to go kiss my wife goodbye and ask my boss for the afternoon off so I can spend more time with her while the boys are at school and daycare. Sorry I didn't respond to everyone. I was a little busy. But thank you all for your support. Update 2. 1 month later. Hey everyone. Hope your workday is going well. Things are a bit wild over here, but mostly great. It was a little awkward explaining everything to friends and family at first, but most of them had already figured it out, including my sons, who act like nothing's changed. Honestly, I'm pretty sure those little *TS knew all along anyway. Last night I came home and Cass clearly wasn't herself. Dinner was burned. Not a big deal. I'm not much of a cook either, but it was very unlike her. And she was drinking wine. A second glass that I asked what was wrong because, obviously, I was worried. She told me her ex, yeah, that guy, the abusive one, had been granted parole last week. I was stunned. As far as I knew, she was supposed to have a chance to testify at his hearing. Turns out the crime he went away for wasn't related to her. I always thought it was, but first, they told her he'd be locked up for at least 10 years. Second, she had been too scared to testify against him. Turns out, he was arrested for some other felony, and while he was in custody, he asked Cass to bail him out. Instead, she reached out to my first wife for help to get away and start anew. Life. I don't know what to do now. It seems like we don't have any legal means to get him locked up again. She knows she should have gone to the police a long time ago, and now she feels guilty and incredibly upset that I know nothing will happen to her, because if he even thinks about laying a finger on her, I'll do everything I can to make sure. He regrets it. I took some time off work but promised that even once I go back, my friends will keep checking in during the day, but I don't know how to make her feel safe. I've already contacted my lawyer about a restraining order, and he says there should be no problem getting one. But Cass is emotionally wrecked right now, and I just don't know how to convince her that she's truly safe. I doubt that bastard will come back into her life, but if he does, I know exactly what to do. Update 4, 1 year later. Hi. First of all, I want to apologize for not posting any updates for so long. Honestly, I've just been busy living life. Last night I couldn't sleep, ended up scrolling the internet, and thought, I wonder how all those awesome people are doing. I logged back into this account and realized that many of you really do care about how things turned out with Cass and me. We are doing great. Last year was tough when Cass's ex got out of prison. She was terrified he might contact her. And, eventually, he did. I remember that evening like it was 5 minutes ago. Someone rang the doorbell, and our oldest son opened it. The ex asked if Cass was home. She told the boys to go upstairs and looked at me. I immediately understood what was going on, but there was no fear in her eyes. That asshole apologized, begged for forgiveness, and asked for a second chance. She was so brave. I wanted to kill him, but she said no and told him to leave. He tried to contact her a couple more times until we got a restraining order. Last I heard, he moved in with his father somewhere up north around the same time, her brother. Joe was in a serious accident and ended up staying with us for a while. He's a great guy and one of my best friends, so we were happy to have him, but it was still a stressful time. About 7 months ago, we finally, how do I put this, consummated our marriage. Yeah, I googled the word for you. Consummation is the term sometimes used for the first time a marriage becomes physical. The boys are doing great and are happy. Cass got a pretty solid job, though I think she works too much overtime, but she loves it. And we're expecting our first child together this February. We are over the moon. You could say life turned out pretty great. Final update, 1 year later. Our daughter was born almost 2 months ago. Sorry I didn't post sooner. The pregnancy was rough, and Cass has made it very clear she doesn't want any more kids. Fair enough. 3 seems to be our magic number, but everything turned out beautifully. Little Therese was born 53 centimeters tall, 4 kilograms, and just as bald as I am. She's way easier than the boys were. Almost never cries. And honestly, the most photogenic baby ever. Our younger son is obsessed with her and always tries to help out. And it's not as adorable as you'd think, but still sweet. Joe is doing fine, too. His back still bothers him now and then, but he's dating a girl who, it turns out, went to my school, though she's 2 years younger. He's super happy with her, and we are all happy for him. Aside from becoming a father again, there's not much else to report. Today I'm home with the baby while Cass is out doing something. So, I'm around if anyone wants to chat. Well, that's all. Write your opinion in the comments. Watch our previous video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if for some reason you haven't done so yet. And good luck to you.